And we have a special bonus edition of our Ticats Season Preview powered by TELUS. I'm the host, Louie B, the digital host for the Hamilton Ticats. And to recap everything we've talked about all week, who better to talk about it with than Shawn, Burke, Senior Director of Player Personnel and Co-Manager of Football Operations. Nailed it on the first try. Burke, it's great to see you. Training camp getting underway. How excited are you?
Just really excited. I'd start with if I'm a bonus guy, you guys need to aim higher for guests. You guys have been killing it this week, and I'm the bonus. That's not living up to the standards. But, we're excited. We've had the guys here about a week now, and, they've done a great job of working with us to follow the protocols that have to be in place for us to get off on the field. And, it's been an interesting dynamic usually for operations and scouts and everything leading into camp. We help facilitate a lot of the guys coming in and out and a lot of the logistics within our organization. And usually by day one, day two of camp, you're a little bit in a fog because of lack of sleep. But we got through those days last week, and we sort of been able to catch our breath and get a lot of stuff done. So it's excited to get on the field Saturday, 2 days away, and just see what these guys have.
I just want to get into this because physically we know, we don't know what's going to happen to these guys' bodies after, 20 months off. There's a physical aspect to this, but also mentally. This season is going to be a mental grind. And how important is it having guys like Coach O in the room, guys who are positive and determined? Like, the people you have in the room seem even more important on a year like this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach O, puts together a phenomenal staff of mixing the right personalities and everyone being unique, but understanding what we have to accomplish as a team. And, the number one thing he talks about putting a staff together is having good people. And he does that. And Drew and myself like to think we do the same thing on our side as well and within our operations staff. So this year more than others, it's like anything you do. If you don't do something for 16, 18 months, not only physically, but mentally, it's going to be different for the first bit. So there's going to be that. And then there's obviously the mental part of dealing with what each individual team's circumstances in terms of COVID in each city, because every province is a little different. And certainly a lot of our provinces in this country are different than maybe the states that the players are coming from. So there's an adjustment that way. But our guys have been doing a phenomenal job. They've been embracing. They just want to play football and get on the field. And, we have a great leadership group amongst our team that have been here a while that will help pave the way for the newer guys.
Well said. All right, let's talk about this roster. And all week we were focusing on different position groups. And let's kind of stay within that format. Let's go in order of the way we did the show. So we'll start with the offensive line. A lot of similarities from 2019. Including Mike Filer coming back, but you also are expecting guys like Darius Sirocco, I'm sure, to take another step forward in his development. Jesse Gibbon, I'm sure, is one of those players. But who else are you watching in this offensive line group?
Yeah, well, you mentioned a couple names, so I won't go on them. But, obviously Mike and Chris, being the elder statesmen of the group, will have a big impact on the young guys in that room. And just to talk about Chris Van Zyl of what he's brought to our organization from driving down the road and joining us and helping develop guys like Gibbon, Okafor, Sirocco in terms of how you have to be pros. And Mike echoes the exact same thing as Chris in terms of that knowledge and the grasp of it. And, we don't know what each and everyone's roles are going to be this year, but all of them, the most important thing is they want to win football games. When you're talking about the young guys coming in, obviously our first round pick from, better get the year right, 2020, Coulter, excited to see him. Seen him in flesh the last couple of weeks with him being a local quarantine guy, and to see his body and the type of person he is just reinforced what we believed in him. And then, coming in tackle-wise, I know publicly that everyone's talking about replacing the left tackle, and Riker did a great job for us for a few seasons here. But Trayvon Tate was here for much of the 2019 season and got a glimpse of the action in the last regular season game. And then we brought a few other guys, Justice Powers, Scotty Dillon, just to compete and go from there and see where it comes. We feel confident. We feel we can bring in guys to help us win, and they can hit the ground running and not miss a step.
Scotty is going to be one of those guys that's going to be hard to miss out there at Tim Hortons Field, a big body. But you did mention kind of a Coulter and hit where he's at physically. And something that Coach Gibson mentioned was Coach Ike and how important Coach Ike was in this offseason, particularly with the younger guys on the offensive line. Maybe just talk a little bit about his impact on this team in the last few years, kind of in the weight room and beyond.
Yeah, I could sit here and have a whole segment on Ike Brown. Near and dear to my heart. He was part of the organization when I first came in, and we just kept in touch over the years, and we had a staffing change, and sometimes it's just the right time at the right place. And Ike's Tennessee days had ended with them making a coaching staff change, and we had an opening, and it was a complete no-brainer for me to go talk to Scott and Coach June at the time and say, I got the guy. We don't even have to look around. This is the guy. And the thing Ike brings is he's so much more than a strength coach. He's a director of development at Tennessee's. He understands what it is to be in these players' shoes. Some of our coaches do. Ourselves on the personnel, none of us played at this level, but Ike has. And, he's gone through the steps of being an American that's been on the practice roster, that's had to fight his way on the roster, that's gone through injuries. And just his knowledge and his trust with the players is incredible. And then, we brought him into the scouting staff too. It just shows we want to involve a guy like Ike in the organization more and more. And what he's done in the off season and through, when I talk about off season, the long stretch of time with some of our guys that are local and a big group of our linemen are local is just great. Like Jesse Gibbon, Kay Okafor, Darius Sirocco, those guys have been working with him 3-4 times a week. And you can see the strides that have made, and he knows when to push and when to give him a little freedom and take a few days off. So just a great asset to our organization.
I just want to make sure we give Ike all the shout-outs that he deserves. And, again, this one is one of many, many that he deserves. All right, let's talk about on the other side on defense. Let's talk about your defensive linemen and your linebackers. Again, a lot of continuity from 2019.
Yeah, we have our 3 DNs all back, and then our starting 2 D tackles back. And, we've also been able to sign some guys that we tracked for a while. So that DN group's going to be a very competitive group, different body types. We're going to be adding a guy late soon that's another special body type, more in the Scotty Dill 6'6", 6'7" region that he won't be missed on the field. His name's Stacey Keeley, that we've tracked on the Neglis a while. But we have a group of guys coming in to push the guys that have been here. And that's what those guys want. It's what we want. But Julian Hauser, Lorenzo Malden, Jagarrett Davis, those guys want to be pushed because it makes them better. And that's what's the unique situation with our team. And it starts with Coach O is we want competition to be within. And that's what will help us prepare us for any matchup outside of these walls is competing daily within. So, then you talk about our inside group, and Eddie Wilson's a guy that's been here before. Lee Autry's a guy we signed late. And Chris Malumba, a guy we got in the global draft that played at University of Colorado. Just excited to see him. So it's an exciting group. Linebacker-wise, we were able to get Jovan Santos-Knox and fully healthy, we hope, because when you look at that 2018 film in Winnipeg when he was fully healthy, he's a dynamic player in this league and had a bit of a fight back from injury. And then again, another group that we brought in some experienced guys with NFL backgrounds. Jeff Allison's a guy that was at Fresno State with Coach O. Kyle Wilson's been with various stops in the NFL. And Patrick Nelson is an exciting guy that plays Ticat brand of football if you watch his film out of SMU. So excited to see those guys rolling on the field. I think it'll be a loud group out of those linebackers if they take their cues from Simone, and they'll be ferocious and they'll be aggressive.
Let's go to the secondary. Probably from the outside, I would say kind of the most questions heading into camp based on the 2019 depth chart to where we are now.
Yeah, you don't replace a Delvin Breaux at boundary corner. whenever we bring in a guy, no matter who was playing there before, you expect them to be them. And no one's going to be Delvin Breaux or no one's going to be Richard Leonard. But we believe we have some good guys going in. We were fortunate enough to have some depth at that group even in 2019, where Jamal Rowe was a DI for us and led our team in interceptions because of getting the place because of some injuries. So he's going to get a chance at that boundary corner spot. And then to sign a guy like Deontay Evans into the mix here that, I formulated a relationship talking to him in the free agent process, and we were able to get him to come down the road and fill in for that. We're excited, but we also got some newcomers coming in. Stribling was with us at the end of 2019, so he's got a little bit of a view of how our organization works, but also how the league works in terms of different position groups. Marco Myers is a guy that was in camp with Calgary that got to play all over the field there. And then some guys with NFL and AAF and XFL pedigree coming in terms of Lawrence, Alumba, Cam Kelly. Like all those guys have played pro football. So although they haven't played up here, they have played at a high level. So it'll be an interesting group. There's going to be some great competition there, and we feel we have some guys that can be themselves, not replace a Rico, not replace Richard, not replace a Delvin, but help us achieve what we want.
I want to put you on the spot here and ask about Frankie, because Frankie Williams, of course, the 2019 Special Teams Player of the Year, but also, showed up on defense. Do you see him playing a similar role, just kind of that versatile, all over the field type of player? Or do you think one way or another he kind of specializes or focuses on one position this season?
I think you want to have a guy like Frankie Williams on the field as much as possible. The word I would describe Frankie with best is competitive, and he just competes all the time. He played field corner most of the year for us. I expect that's where he'll line up day one of camp. But he also played different spots in the back end for us when we had in-game adjustments. He was the guy that moved around and doesn't blink. Frankie Williams will not blink no matter what you ask him to do. Nothing rattles him. Nothing is too big. And, just a guy that is competitive. When you talk about Ticat DNA, he embodies it.
Well said. All right, let's move to another group where you have a lot of different players coming from a lot of different backgrounds, guys that have been here for a while, draft picks, and that would be the receivers. A lot of people are going to run down the list and see Braylon Addison, Brandon Banks, Devere Posey, Jalen Ackland, and then stop reading. But there are a lot of names underneath them that are going to be trying to earn their way onto this team.
Yeah, that's what you always want is competition, and you want to see guys build on their first year, and we've sort of been waiting to see that build on the first year a little longer than usual. So, you would hope guys like Ackland, Tucker, Jalen Marshall all take a step and come in and compete. And then to get the services back of Braylon Addison, who obviously was a huge part of Coach Condell's offense in 2019, and to have Speedy here again, it gives a solid base. We obviously added Devere, who has a veteran presence, who's played all over the field, that gives us a ton of different options of where we want to line up in terms of everything. And then, like you said, we've added guys, from a Marcus Green and Tim White, who have various NFL spots and could be looked upon as returners here, to Jonathan Duhart, Cam Phillips, Emmanuel Butler. Like the list goes on and on. I'm not leaving anyone off other than I can't sit here all day to talk about them. But each of them are going to be given an opportunity, and that's all a player can ask for. And as I was talking about the other groups, we preach competition in this building. And if it's the type of guys we want here, they'll want to compete against the guys for their jobs, and they'll embrace that, and they'll all work together because we're all working towards one common goal.
And that brings us to the last kind of position group that we focused on. And I'm not even going to ask the question, because as much as people are going to try to make it a storyline, yes, it is a competition. Someone will be quarterback one. There's really no point of going into that. I hope you don't mind if we're just going to move past that, because really what's been said has been said about 100 different times by 100 different people. So I want to talk about the running backs, because Don Jackson was someone I remember talking to you in February of 2020 after you signed him in free agency, and he said, this guy's motivated, this guy wants to be here. I talked to him last week. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, at that position group, we have multiple options to go ratio-wise with who we have in-house. And Don's a guy that we targeted in free agency that got nicked up a bit in Calgary and might have lost his chance a bit there because of other guys stepping up there. But when he was on the field for them, was productive, ran the ball the right way, different type of back than we've had here in the past. And then, we brought in a Byron Marshall, who's played with various NFL teams and played with Braylon at Oregon, was a 1,000-yard runner and a 1,000-yard receiver there. So he gives us a different set of guy. And then Wes Hills is sort of that big bruising back. When fans see him, he's going to look how you want leading off the bus. He's the type of guy that you want leading. So, and then we have our Canadians that shown when given the opportunity, Malik, Jackson, and Shawn all gave us great reps in game and produced. So, it's a group that we have flexibility with, that we're excited to see how it plays out and goes from there.
And it's not too often we talk about a tight end group in the CFL, but here we are talking about two of them. Let's talk about the Nicola, who of course is here last year, and then bringing in Burke here. Jake Burke, a first overall pick 2021. These guys play a similar style. How do you see them kind of working together on the field?
Well, I think most of all it gives Coach Condell a ton of different options to get creative with what he wants to do. And it's totally always up to the coaches of how they want to use the personnel. But I don't see it being an issue of utilizing them. Both of them, I think, will be members of our special teams units as well, where we're getting 3 or 4 teams out of each of them because of their body types and sizes and desires. Nicolo's coming in great shape. Just saw his medical report. Bert's quite a bit lighter than he was at Boston College, just because we're going to use him different, and he understood that. So both of them been working hard. It's never a bad problem to have multiple options at any position group. And the other guy I'd mentioned in that group was our 5th round pick, Felix Grand-Gauthier, who has a chance to come in and compete at training camp and earn a spot on our roster via special teams as well. So definitely have some depth there, but most of all gives us options to not lose packages if something happens to one of them, do different packages, and also improve size and length on special teams in terms of what we're trying to do there.
Coach O had a great line when him and Simone were speaking earlier this week, and he said, it doesn't matter. Obviously we want as many fans there as possible. Doesn't matter if it's sold out or 2,000. You play for the logo that's on the field. And just wanted to ask you about where you're at, where the club's at. We're hoping to have fans back. Is there anything you can update us on with that?
Oh, I've been in this bubble of football operations, so you'd be best getting Scott or Matt on one of these bonus ones for that. But what I will say is we love our fans. There's a special attachment between our city, our fans, and our players and our organization. And I was on a Zoom call earlier today addressing the team, and one of the things I said was, I believe the Ticats are a fabric part of this community. And when we're playing well, the community's doing well. And when we're not doing well, the community feels it for us because they live and breathe it. And to have the opportunity to have any amount of them there on Labor Day when we're here will be extraordinary. Our players have missed them. Our staff have missed them. We know how much they care about us, and we care about them just as much.
Burke, extremely busy time. So any second I get to chat with you, I appreciate. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, Louie. Appreciate you.